it's Megan. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my plan for January for our family dinners to follow along with the Three Rivers Challenge. If you watched last week, you saw everything that I currently have in my pantry, my food storage closet, as well as my freezers. So I put together a meal plan for January that is going to utilize some of those things that I have. And I'm going to try to minimize the amount of times that I have gone to the store and the things that I am purchasing from the store and trying to use up what I have on hand first. So for January, we are actually going to be traveling a little bit. So there's going to be about 2 weeks of time where we're actually not in our home. So that's why the meal plan for January is a little bit shorter. Also, my family is just a family of 4. There's me and my husband, and then our 6-year-old daughter and our 2.5-year-old daughter. So lots of times when I make like a full family-sized recipe, it can easily stretch us for 2 and 3 meals, plus have leftovers for lunches for me and my husband. So if my meal plan seems a little bit short, that's probably why. It's because we utilize leftovers. We rarely let food go to waste. So a couple of things that I have, the first thing that I have on my list is potato soup. We have a ton of potatoes and some of them are starting to sprout. So I want to make sure that I'm utilizing those potatoes first. I'm going to be using those here in kind of this earlier part of the month. So for this week, where I'm currently filming, we are planning on having potato soup, which is a super easy recipe where I basically just throw in peeled and diced potatoes, an onion, some garlic, cover it with chicken broth, cook it in my crock pot all day. And then at the end of the day, when everything's nice and soft, I use my immersion blender, mix it all up to make it nice and thick, pour in some milk to make it a little bit creamy, and then we top it with cheese, sour cream, and bacon bits, which we have all in our fridge already. And especially our sour cream was something that we need to use up. Also this week, I'm going to be making chicken pot pie. Again, I have a lot of potatoes. The chicken pot pie recipe that I use calls for a lot of potatoes. So I'm going to cut that up. The recipe that I use makes enough for 2 chicken pot pies. And if you saw in my freezer tour last week, you'll saw that I have a bunch of frozen pie crusts all ready to go in my freezer. So this week we're going to make 1 chicken pot pie. From the filling that I'm making, I'm going to take the other filling and put that in the freezer so that I have a freezer meal for later, either later in this challenge or sometime after the challenge. But we love chicken pot pie, and so we eat it quite a bit around here. Okay, another meal that we are going to have as we are coming back from one of our trips is we're going to just do a simple breakfast for dinner. We'll decide kind of that night probably what we're going to have. It probably will be German pancakes. If not German pancakes, we always have plenty of stuff on hand to make pancakes or waffles. I could also make breakfast hash or omelets or a breakfast casserole of some kind, but we'll do some kind of breakfast for dinner one of the nights where we come back from our trip, because we'll have all those things on hand already and it'll just be a quick, easy dinner that everybody likes. Okay, another convenience meal, another like quick and easy meal that we're going to be having is chili with cornbread. My chili recipe, I just dump everything in the crock pot. If I'm thinking ahead, I will brown some meat to put in the crock pot. Otherwise, lots of times I just put the raw meat in and it will cook throughout the day, and then I can just break it up at the end. But basically, my chili recipe is just dumping a bunch of cans into a crock pot and setting it to go. And then we're also, with that, going to have some cornbread, which if you saw my neighbor jar gift video, I made a jar of my cornbread mix. So I just need to add my liquid ingredients, whip that together, and pop it in the oven. So that'll be another quick and easy dinner to have one of these nights in January, where again, I won't have to buy anything. We have we have cheese and sour cream and tortilla strips already in our pantry to use as toppings on our chili. And then any leftover chili that we have, if we don't finish it for leftovers for dinner or for my husband's lunches, I will just freeze whatever we have left in individual portions. And that way, when myself or my husband need a quick lunch, we'll already have some individual portions of chili ready to go. Okay, something else from my freezer is I have lots of different cuts of steak and beef that I don't really know exactly what to do with. So one of the things I'm going to be doing this month is I'm going to make batter fried steak. This is it's kind of like a chicken fried steak, but it's just in little tiny bites. I find that it cooks the meat a lot faster, and it's just a lot easier for me in terms of cooking and cleanup than to make just like individual size chicken fried steaks. So we're going to be doing that one night. We're also going to have probably some fries in the air fryer with that, because I have a ton of frozen bags of French fries, which I didn't realize I had so many until I was doing my tour. So that's another something that I want to make sure that I'm using up. Okay, another thing I'm planning on making this month is green chili chicken casserole. This is basically a rice casserole. I have tons of rice, and I'm going to use some of the chicken either from my food storage pantry or some of my frozen pre-cooked chicken. Basically, you cook your rice and you mix the rice with chicken, green chilies, green enchilada sauce, cheese, sour cream, cream of chicken soup, and you just mix it all together, put it in a casserole pan and bake it until it's all heated through and melty. It's one of our family favorites. It makes really good leftovers, and we haven't had it in a while. So I have all the things on hand again. So I'm trying to be using up and going through a lot of the food that we have on hand so that it's not going to be expiring, and making sure that I'm being a good steward of the things that we have. Okay, the last two things on my meal plan are beef enchiladas. I have a ton of ground beef in my freezer, as well as quite a few tortillas. So I'm going to make some enchiladas. I haven't decided yet if I'm also going to make it as a freezer meal. If not, I'll just make a regular recipe. We'll eat what we want, and then I can freeze individual portions for lunches in the future for me and my husband. And that will use up the tortillas and the beef, which I have a lot of. And then again, I also have plenty of cheese and sour cream on hand, and the other things that I need to make the enchilada sauce to go with it. So the last thing on my list is to have a baked potato soup. Again, we currently have a ton of potatoes. It could be because I overbought during the holidays, but that's okay. So I'm planning on having this baked potato soup towards the end of the month, just because that way it'll put some distance between the first, like just my basic classic potato soup recipe that we had at the beginning of the month, and then this baked potato soup that we'll have towards the end of the month is a little bit richer, has a little bit of a deeper flavor because you actually bake the potatoes first before you make the soup. You're not cooking the potatoes in the soup. So just something that's a little bit different. Again, we have all the ingredients on hand. It's a good way to go through quite a few potatoes, and it's just very warm and comforting, especially here in Montana, as it is getting very, very cold this winter. And then if we have any other nights where we just need a quick meal, or my leftovers don't stretch quite as far, we have plenty of frozen burgers and burger buns in my freezer, so we could use those. I also have some pulled pork that's already cooked and frozen that we could easily put on some buns that I already have in my freezer. So that could be another quick meal. We could do breakfast for dinner. Again, another night we could make hash because we have lots of different kinds of sausages, and like smoked sausage and like O'Brien style potatoes, and we have veggies that we can use for that as well. As far as lunches go, my husband usually takes leftovers for his lunches. I sometimes have leftovers, sometimes have what my kids are eating, and I just kind of scrounge around and just eat random things. I don't usually have a set plan for what I do for lunches. And then my kids usually rotate through like snacky lunches where they eat like cheese, crackers, pepperoni with some fruit and veggies. I just put it all out on a platter, and then they just kind of pick and choose what they want to eat. They really like that. They really like mac and cheese. I only have a few boxes left of mac and cheese, but it was going on sale, so I did order a big case of it from Sam's Club, and I will be showing you that in a future video, which is like what groceries I bought during this challenge. My kids also like grilled cheese. We still have plenty of chicken nuggets and fries that they like doing for lunches. We have plenty of tortillas and cheese for quesadillas. And we also have lots of frozen fruit where we could have smoothies either as its own on lunch or as a side with our lunches. That's pretty much what we do for lunches. For breakfasts, I don't really eat breakfast because I do intermittent fasting. My husband sometimes eats breakfast, sometimes doesn't. And then my kids usually just choose from things that we have. They like eggs. We make chaffles. I have a bunch of frozen waffles in my freezer that I'm going to be trying to get them to go through. We have tons of oatmeal, and I also make breakfast casseroles or muffins, or I usually will just make something from scratch or from some kind of mix or something that then will be ready to go for the week. I'll just make it on like a Sunday or Monday, and then it'll just be prepared and ready for my kids and my husband if he wants it to eat during the week for breakfast. So that's my plan for January. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe if you are interested in more of this kind of content. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.